Well, good morning. Thank you, Tonya and Patty, for giving me the opportunity to speak to all the folks here that are registered for the Land Users Group. It's a privilege to be here, especially on this special week where it is National Surveyors Week, and March 23rd is also Global Surveyors Day. So I'm very pleased to be here. I'm Christy Davis, the Executive Director of the North Carolina Society of Surveyors, and our sole objective is to support the profession and help everyone reach their full potential there, both with business and personally, professionally there. So glad to be with you today, and I want to talk to you about some of the exciting things going on within our society and how you can help us accomplish our goals. First of all, I would like to invite you just to get to know us. We are the oldest professional society in North Carolina. We were established in 1939. We are one of the oldest associations in America, so we're very pleased. Our oldest surveying associations in America. So we're very pleased with that long storied history we have of supporting the profession. Our mission statement, as you can see there on the screen, says that we are a society of professional surveyors and their associates dedicated to enhancing professionalism, improving legislative awareness, and promoting the profession of surveying. I call those three elements our three roots, and those roots we want to go deep. And everything I do and everything I plan and everything we bring before our board of directors to vote on takes those three roots into consideration. And we make our decisions on the limited resources we have, whether or not we can accomplish those three things. So that's what we're trying to help do for surveyors in North Carolina. Now, comparing us nationwide, we look great. By the numbers, we look very good. We have 2,365 licensed surveyors in North Carolina, which ranks us fourth behind California, Florida, and Texas. And when you consider that based on population, we are the 8th largest population, but the 4th largest in the number of surveyors, we have an ample number of surveyors here in North Carolina. And that's good news, especially as some of you are so busy and our economy is booming, so we need surveyors. The North Carolina Society of Surveyors has 1,085 members currently. It is interesting that compared nationwide, I have the privilege of representing executive directors nationwide. And of course, in 2020, our meetings were shut down because of COVID, but in 2019, when I attended the nationwide meeting, for those that were in attendance there, we were the only organization growing of all the surveyor associations. So that says a lot for North Carolina surveyors. I want to thank each one of you that are on this, that have attended this call or listening to this as a recorded webinar. Thank you. Your membership is so important to us. This helps us accomplish what we set out to do. We also have one of 21 ABET accredited 4-year degree programs in the country. We have one of those here in North Carolina. It's North Carolina A&T State University in Greensboro. We have a 4-year geomatics program there. The other great news about that is you can take that program entirely online while you still work, if you want your 4-year BS in surveying, geomatics, so that you have better accessibility to other states. This is available to you. I also have to make a plug there for our Education Foundation. Our foundation has done a great job raising money through the years to help support geomatics students in scholarships. We have scholarships available both for 2-year and 4-year degree students. So keep that in mind. If you decide to go back to school, there is money there to help you. One of the ways the foundation, we have a couple of raffles every year, but one of the major ways the foundation is able to support students with those are the license plates that you see, the professional surveyor license plates. We were able to get that legislation passed a few years ago. That was very exciting. And because of that, every time you purchase a license plate for your vehicle, a specialized license plate for surveyors, which you do through DOT, every time you purchase one of those, $15 of that fee goes straight to our education foundation. I believe each year that raises $8,000 to $9,000 to support scholarships in North Carolina. So that was a huge win for us for a few years ago. I think we did that in 2016. Very excited about that. So go get your license plate. But we look good. Nationwide comparisons, we look good there. So what's the problem? Well, the problem is the average age in North Carolina of surveyors is 60 years old, plus or minus. Now, I have to give a caveat here. I want to say something, that part of the reason our age is so elevated is because surveyors don't retire their license. It takes them so long, and it's so difficult to get a surveyor's license that they don't retire them. We get calls all the time from surveyors in their 80s that might do an occasional survey for a friend, but they continue with their continuing education, and they say they will hold their license. So the fact that we have many retirees still holding their license is part of what elevates our average age. However, no one can deny that we are an older profession. And within a decade, we're going to have a serious issue with retirees outnumbering the new licensees. And so that is something that we have to address now. The next problem that goes along with that is retirees are not being quickly replaced. And these statistics I find very fascinating. On the left side of the screen there, the FS and the PS national pass rates. I think this is first-time pass rates for the fundamentals of surveying exam, the FS. Those that have a BS degree in surveying, their first-time pass rate is 67%. The FS for all other degrees combined, so that includes if you're going into it with a geography degree or a forestry degree, an engineering, a math, your first-time pass rate there on average is only 46%. Then when you get to the PS exam, the first-time pass rate for the professional surveyor exam, if you have a BS in surveying, is 81%. So that's pretty good pass rate. But the PS exam for all other degrees combined is only 68%. So our pass rates aren't stellar. They definitely go up in relation to the amount of education you have. And we'll talk about that a little further in the presentation. And look on the left side of the screen. This is a fascinating statistic too. The average age of FS test takers is 35. And then the average age of PS test takers is 39. So you are older as you get your professional surveying. There's not many young surveying. When you think about that, our Young Surveyor of the Year award is for those under 39. That is a very narrow group of people that we draw from there. So I have thought of 5 things, 5 ways that we can talk about today that will address this problem. It's not only 5 ways that I can make a difference as I lead this society, but it is also 5 ways that you can make a difference individually. And I'm going to go over those, and then we're going to go into some specifics of how we might accomplish that. So number 1, build a support network. Number 2, cast a large net. Number 3, celebrate all progress. 4, encourage education. And 5, find your one contribution. So let's go a little deeper into those. When I talk about building a large support network, that's something that I see as part of my responsibility to you. And NSPS sees that it's its responsibility. That's the National Society of Professional Surveyors. They see that as their responsibility to us as state organizations. Also, NCEs, the National Council of Examiners for Engineers and Surveyors, they are the writers of the exam, bringing people to licensure, whether it's surveyors or engineers. They see that as their primary role. So each one of us that improve in our ability to build that support network then improves your ability to call on us for help. So the first thing I want to discuss with you today is the SCORE initiative. SCORE stands for Surveying Candidate Objectives for Recruitment and Education. We originally wrote the SCORE initiative as a grant in 2018. I had a bug put in my ear that NCEs had some money to support those kinds of initiatives. So I sat down and tried to write a grant that would cover 4 to 8 years. I think I asked originally for about $500,000. The primary thing I wanted to do was bring an outside marketing firm to do the marketing and research to find out what do we need to do to recruit more people into surveying. I've been with the society 10 years and our marketing ideas are very similar over the last 10 years, but obviously they're not working very well and we don't have a lot of funding behind us. So I was thinking if we could bring in an outside source to analyze our data, to look at what's working, what's not working, and then put that together as something that might have some funding behind us to say, hey, this is a great idea, let's try it. That was my original goal. Well, NCEs turned me down for the grant, but they liked the idea and they wrote me a letter and said this is what they would like to see. They would like to see a grant following these ideas, but they would like to see something with a broader geographical approach and also with NSPS involvement. Once again, the National Society's involvement. So I don't know if they knew I was going to do this, but I reapplied in 2019. I actually went to Washington, D.C. and was allowed to sit in on their executive committee meeting and presented our ideas there. We reached out to Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, and Maryland. We also, for those of you on the call from South Carolina, we reached out to South Carolina, but they were not able to take advantage of it right then. So we have these partners involved, Georgia, Tennessee, Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina. And we presented the same idea, asking for more money because there was more states involved, and asking for that first year to just be research and development, developing a marketing plan, and that we would apply this plan once developed as a regional pilot project. The reason that I wanted to do it that way is when we go smaller, it's easier to turn the ship. And when you go into a national program and expect all states to participate, our states are very different. They have very different numbers of surveyors, different organizations, associations with staff. Some of the associations are just one person that works out of their home. So I feel like that if we have similar states that can try to apply some of these programs and it's not working, we can turn the ship a little easier. In SPS, the way the grant was written would be the financial oversight for the organization. Well, NCEs liked the project, but they decided during that course of discussion following my presentation, they decided that they were going to recommend doing it in-house, hiring someone and doing the marketing and research in-house because they already had some of the foundational structures in place. So I was very excited. That is fine with me. I just want to make the difference there. So in 2020, in the summer of 2020, NCEs hired Marissa Trzymkowski as the director of the SCORE initiative. And she also has other job responsibilities, which is to recruit surveying candidates all across the nation. So it's not just the SCORE initiative, but that was the primary reason she was initially hired. They are now in, 2020 with COVID has slowed everything down, but they are now in the initial phases of research and developing the marketing plan. So we are very excited. Marissa and I have become colleagues and friends, and we talk very often and stay in touch. She and I have done podcasts together, have another one scheduled for June together. We've been on Geoholics podcast out from Arizona, talking about what we're doing, and she's been on several podcasts and just has a lot of fresh ideas. She has a lot of background in STEM, so we're really excited about that. Now, once this SCORE initiative is up and going and we have a marketing plan in place, then whatever the marketing plan is, NCEs plans to fund that plan. So now we have a bigger support network. Now I have NSPS behind me, I have NCEs behind me, and therefore you have all those organizations behind you if you come up with a great idea or want to reach out and do some things. So we're really excited about the growth there in that. The second point that we were talking about was to cast a large net. And this is very important for us because this came to my mind as I went to a Durham high school to do a career fair one time. And we happened to set our table up right beside a military table where we had military recruiters. I think there were several branches there recruiting students. And all day long, the students were they just encircled that table talking to the recruiters. They were able to talk to hundreds of students. And we were next door trying to hawk our wares and get one or two students to come to the table and talk to us about what surveying was. And I was a little jealous. I was like, how do they do that? And part of that is just familiarity. These kids know what that means to join the military, although I'm sure they have a naive viewpoint of that. But so at the end of the day, I pulled one of the recruiters aside and I said, I have to ask you, your table was so inundated with students all day. I said, it was a little frustrating for us not to be able to pull them to us to talk about that. But out of all those students that you get to talk to, how many of them will go into the military? And he looked at me, he said, probably one. He said, out of every 200 or 300 students we talk to, we may get one. And that shocked me. And it made me think, we've got to cast a broad net. We can't talk to 10 students and think we're even going to get one surveyor out of that. We have to cast a very large net. Well, we began a few years ago attending with the help of the Education Foundation, we began attending the Math Teachers Conference and the Counselors Conference here in North Carolina every year. Once again, until 2020, put a halt on those. So we began building contact information between those two things, talking to them about coming to speak to their students, and it has really grown. So then we came up with the idea to do a program called Career Ambassadors. My goal is to have one career ambassador in every single county in North Carolina, so at least 100. Now we can have more than that. We would love to have more than that because Charlotte has a lot of schools. So we need 10 in Charlotte, we need 10 in Raleigh. But in the rural counties, I would love to have just one surveyor that says, I will go to a school and speak. I will do it, even if you just say, I will do it one time a year. We'd love to get you into your alma mater where you graduated from high school. That picture there on the slide, the one in the center, is our Mecklenburg chapter president, currently Tim Geiswhite. And he was attending his alma mater, his elementary school where he went to school. And they treated him like a little hero that day. It was great. So we are building our career ambassadors. We want to honor you. We send you supplies that you will need. We send you everything that we can put our hands on. We can train you how to do that, how to speak to these groups. We are working. One of the things I really want to accomplish with NCE's help is to come up with actual projects or career fair type, curriculum type things for the students to do. So not only can you tell them a little bit about Surveyor, but you can give them something to do as a class, a little project if you're in front of a class individually. Right now we have 46 counties represented with career ambassadors and 52 ambassadors total. And we're working on the training materials, but I do have some things. I have a little swag I can send you and those kinds of things. I also put down there, as you see on the slide, bring a pig. And the reason I say that is it comes from an experience we had where Dr. Jerry Ney from A&T attended one of the career fairs with us. And I asked him how it went. And he said, it's pretty bad today. I can't get students over to my table. And I said, why didn't you take the drone? And he said, yeah, but the veterinarian right beside me brought a baby pot-bellied pig and all the kids went there. And so we do have funny stories like that. But when I say bring a pig, I want you to bring something that they can touch, something they can put their hands on and try, whether it's a drone, whether it's your robot or your total station. Set something up that can actually engage the kids. And I have training materials of what you would say and how you would present ideas given the situation that you would be in. So I would love for you to participate in that. I love this quote here by Ray Goforth. There are two types of people who will tell you that you cannot make a difference in this world: those who are afraid to try and those who are afraid you will succeed. Remember that our momentum grows with the slightest difference. We can grow the momentum. Celebrate your success. Celebrate all progress. Do things that won't seem like a big deal to you, but when we all do it together, it makes a big difference. For example, social media such as LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, inter-office celebrations or intra-office celebrations. You know, when you have somebody that gets through second level of his CST exam, which is your certified surveyor technician, bring lunch into your office and celebrate that. Ask your new employees if they would be willing to have as part of their job or responsibility to have some community outreach one time a year, and you'll provide the time off, perhaps just 4 hours to go be a career ambassador. I'm going to pay for you to have 1 day off a year or 2 half days a year to go do some community outreach, whether it's with scouting, Boys and Girls Club. We've got to cast that big net, and if you can help as an employer to do that, and be creative. If you come up with a great idea, let me know about it, and we will do what we can to support you with supplies or encouragement. We will promote your success too. If I see that you have an employee you're celebrating out on social media, I will make sure I retweet or share the post or those kinds of things, and I try to comment on everything when I'm out there. That's a lot of my time being spent this week, is just acknowledging all the success we have out there. And that way people begin to hear about surveying. They just begin to hear. Their curiosity will cause them to step further, but we've got to get the word out that this is a great profession. Now, I want you to know that the other, number 4, we have to encourage education. We saw from the pass rates back on the 3rd slide that education makes all the difference of how quickly we can get people licensed in the field. So I want you to know we have a little something for everybody. I wish we had more, but we're working on that. But there's something at every level that you can encourage someone to say, go get the next level of knowledge. The Get Kids into Surveying website, that's part of NSPS and beasurveyor.com. You can get free posters to take to elementary schools. They're kind of like a Where's Waldo type poster, and you can have free posters there to get those into the elementary schools. We have word searches and things like that. Future Cities competition is a level up for middle school, and it's an amazing competition that's hosted by NCEs. North Carolina is often looking for judges for that. I took my grandson to a Future Cities competition, and it's really cool. It's where these groups come from the middle schools, and they are given a task. Like the year I went, it was to build a wastewater treatment plant and to do it environmentally. And there's a surveying element to each of these projects they give them. And then surveyors come in and judge them, and they have overall winners. Fantastic competition. It's held in Raleigh at the McKimmon Center each year, and but middle schools from all over the state come. Bring your nephew to it and attend or volunteer to be a judge in some of those things. TrigStar is a high school level competition. It's very hard for us to get our foot in the door right now. I think we have some Wilmington schools that have participated for years and years. But if you have contacts in one of the local high schools and you could get us into that, we would love to offer our TrigStar competitions in the high schools. It's trigonometry based, it's timed and graded, and the national winner goes on to compete nationally there. And some people will have the argument, TrigStar winners aren't going to be surveyors, and that's probably true. We did have a national winner here, I think back in 2012, from the Wilmington area. I interviewed her for the Tar Heel Surveyor, and she won the national competition. And I asked her what she was going to do after high school, and she said, I'm going to be a biological engineer. Okay, so she's not going to be a surveyor, but just remember there were 7,500 other kids in that room. And you have an opportunity to stand up, tell them about surveying. They can see what you do. And encourage them to look forward, tell them about scholarships that are available. Scholarships speak volumes to parents. So those kinds of things, you have to look at your entire audience, not just those who are going to win the competition there. The ones that win may go on and do something different. But there are a lot of kids in that room that aren't going to win that are really good at math and those kinds of things. So we also, I don't know if you know this, but we have 8 2x2 community college programs where they can go take the surveying technology program there, and all their credits within that program will transfer to A&T. So they come out and they're ready to go to A&T and be halfway done. So, and then of course I've already spoken to you a little bit from A&T's program there. We'd be happy to help anybody navigate those sometimes confusing waters of how to get in touch with the people that they need to talk to more about that program. The CST program is something available to those right in your office, your technicians there. And it helps pass the exam. I actually am a CST proctor. If your company doesn't offer that exam, it's a program out of NSPS. A lot of companies tell their technicians, you go take this exam, and if you pass it, I'll cover the cost for you. So I offer the exam in the NCSS office a couple of times per year. Just to let you know, they say that if you pass all 4 levels of that CST, you'll pass the surveying exam. So it's really a great program to help people study a little at a time and be successful. And then finally, beasurveyor.com is a website that we, NSPS, took over from. It was originally a North Carolina website that we turned over to NSPS to manage, and it has links all over the country for associations and college programs and things like that, and hopefully that will continue to grow as this NCE's project grows with us. So finally, find your one contribution. A little photo on the presentation here is something that I took from a photo in my home. That is a glimpse of the Bayeux Tapestry in France. I had the privilege back in the late 90s of going over to France and getting to see this tapestry. It is a 129 point something feet long, 70 meters long, and it is a hand sewn tapestry from the Battle of Hastings and the invasion of Normandy by became King William the Conqueror. It is so old, and that's why the colors are so muted in that, because that's the only dyes they had back then, and it's amazing. It tells the whole story. And I could imagine those women sitting around back in that day, right before the Battle of or right after the Battle of Hastings, just saying, I'm going to needlepoint what happened here in my field, because they've got like horses being shot and people charging with swords, and I can see those ladies that were in that community, all those communities in the Normandy coast of France going, I'm just going to do this section. And that's what I want you to see as I finish up today. I want you to see your section, whatever your section is. Don't think it's not important. You reach out in that area that you can accomplish. And together with 1,000 members and 2,300 surveyors, together we would have a huge impact on the profession. You just do what you can do. So here's some ways that you can contribute to help weave this amazing tapestry we have here in North Carolina. We need career ambassadors. We particularly need career ambassadors in the northeast quadrant of our state. I have turned down 3 at least. I think in 2018 and 19, I turned down 3 career fairs there because I had no one that would attend. I need career ambassadors, particularly in the northeast quadrant of the state. There's a new program that we're working on. We'll need trainees for Onslow Tech. And it's a program a gentleman who's worked in surveying has put together to train young men out of high school, young men that may not otherwise have a lot of options, and he wants to train them to be ready to go to work as your technician. And he has an amazing vision. He has a broad idea of, I don't want to just train them on what to do about surveying. I want to train them on how to show up on time, how to dress, how to walk with a purpose. He has a great vision for many things, and he's going to need surveyors to help him, and he's going to need donations of equipment. His name is Christopher Bryant. We've spoken to him several times and really, really excited about his vision to help surveyors and to help kids from particularly down east. He's Onslow County. He's a high school basketball and football referee, so he has a tremendous amount of contact. He's even willing to provide transportation for students that can come work with you, but they'll be ready to go when they get with you for a particular project where you need some extra help. So that's an exciting program, and I'll need trainees. So if you're willing to go help train some of these young men, let me know. We need merit badge instructors for scouting. You know, the Surveyor has a badge, and I just heard a presentation this past week where the surveying badge is third from the bottom of the most often awarded badges. So we don't want to lose that ability. If you're involved with Scouts and could go train a day for the surveying badge, please let us know that. We would love to see you, or you let your local Scout group. No, I don't know the term there, but the local scouting group. Please let them know you're willing to do that. We need introductions to get TrigStar into schools. It's very hard for some reason to get into schools with the TrigStar exam. So if your wife is the counselor or the math teacher, or your significant other, whether it's your wife or someone you know can get TrigStar into a local school, we would like to do that, and we'll try to find the surveyors that can help initiate the test there. We need employers to support outreach. If you as an employer would encourage your staff to go do something in the community, however that works, we would love that. If your employer wants to support in some other way, I'm all ears. We just need to have all the support, casting that large net again, building a big support network. And then please participate on social media. That is where young people stay. They're out there all the time. So we certainly would like to have all the participation. I will help you with that in that I will, connect with us, connect with NCSS on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, LinkedIn. We will help do that, share and retweet, and everything we need to do to celebrate your success. So each one of those things aren't big, but together that will make a huge impact in our state. So I just wanted to give you some contact information. Our website is ncsurveyors.com. Many of you on this presentation certainly know that. And Career Ambassador, we'd like you to contact Angela Twyford. She's our new office manager here, atwyford@ncsurveyors.com. If you need a TrigStar packet, the Education Foundation will pay for your TrigStar packet to go into the local school. So let us know at info@ncsurveyors.com. And if you need to know school links and how you might get involved or direct someone to the right schools, surveyor.com should have those things. Get Kids into Survey is another, I think it's all together now on an SPS site. So those are some just contact information. I have sent this presentation to Tonya and Patty so they can send it to you if you're more interested in that. And I thank you so much for letting me talk to you today. We're really excited at the momentum we have and think we can do a lot more. So let's make sure that in 10 years, we're not talking about a dying profession. Let's make sure we have others coming along beside us during the next decade. I'm looking forward to that. You're a great group of professionals, and love the down-to-earth surveyors that I work with. Just want to thank you again for having me. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me at ncsurveyors.com. Thanks so much.